group. She serves, she matters, partner and sponsor National Women's Veterans United Roundtable. This is our second hour, and we are so pleased to talk about women in the service. And right now, we have two panelists here that are going to give us some more great information about She Served, She Matters. And Rochelle Crump is with us. Of course, all of you know her. She's one of our regulars here. And Rochelle, how are you today? All right. I love it when she says that. She, of course, is, Rochelle is a Vietnam-era Army veteran and president and founder of NWVU. That's National Women Veterans United.
That's right.
Absolutely. We're so pleased to always see you.
Thank you.
But then, too, now we are really on top of it with talking about the women, because we have another guest with us, and she is Colonel, retired, Donna L. Cooper. Was in the U.S. Army Reserves from 1988 to 1993, in the National Guard from 93 to 2013, and Judge Advocate General's Corps from 1988 to 2013. Our guest was a military lawyer in the Judge Advocate General's Corps. She received her direct commission on March 7th, 1988, and was assigned the 4th Army Reserve Unit at Fort Sheridan. And in 1993, she was transferred to the Illinois Army National Guard. She was the first African-American JAG officer, just Judge Advocate General, and was the first Illinois Army National Guard JAG to be deployed to Iraq. During her two rotations from 2003 to 04, she was initially deputy chief, then chief of the legal advisor section of the multi-nation Division Central South. She supervised international military attorneys and was the liaison between, get this, the Polish Army and the U.S. JAG office.
That's right.
While in Iraq, she was promoted from major to lieutenant colonel, being pinned by a Polish brigadier general. The colonel retired from the Illinois National Guard as a state judge advocate in May 2013 after 20 years of service, totaling 25 years of military service. Colonel, pleasure.
It's nice to meet you.
Absolutely. So great to have you here. I tell you, we're talking about women, and this is a good thing we're talking about, because we have so many women, as you well know, that are in the service, and as of course, Glenda always talks about, that's the women are the fastest growing group in the military, which is true.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely. But Colonel, give us a little background. This is tremendous, what you accomplished.
Okay, a little background. Well, I have to tell you that when I was young, my mother had a friend, her best friend from high school was a WAC officer in the U.S. Army during World War II.
Wow.
And my mother and her always said, although it was a war, what a great time those years were. So I was always impressed by that. She went in the service. She hadn't graduated from high school. This is the WAC officer.
Uh-huh.
She came out. I guess she used the GI Bill. She became a teacher there in Memphis. She stayed in the system until she retired. So I was always impressed by that, and that kind of influenced me to look into the military. That and the fact that my father wanted to go in the military, but he was from Jamaica, and he wasn't able to do it. Although his brothers made the U.S. Navy, and I think his other brother was in the British Army.
Mm-hmm.
But, we've been kind of a military family, and it piqued my interest, so I did it.
Well, you didn't just do it. you did a whole lot more than just doing it.
Yes, you did.
How did you get involved in JAG?
Well,
Judge Advocate General's Corps, yeah.
I actually went in, I was pretty old. Usually people go in there 18, 19 years old or something. But I was like in my 30s by the time I went in and got processed. And I had to have a waiver, so I'd already gone to college. I'd gone to law school.
Oh, you were already in?
I was
okay.
already an attorney when I went in.
I got you, yeah,
So,
okay. So how did you decide to do that? I mean, you
Well,
already, I mean, I'm sure, you would have made a great living without going through all the things that you did go through, but, you already were an attorney.
Well, it was a good time for me to go in because I actually met, while I was in law school, a captain who had told me he thought I'd be good in the military. And then one of the other students that I went to law school with, he was actually part of the program. I can't remember the name now, where they pay for you to go to law school, and once you finish, you go in, you serve, a few more years. So I mean, I had those people also to give me some information and inspire me to do it.
Well, you did well at it.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, that's just great.
Very impressive.
Isn't that? Yes, yes. That's something.
Yeah.
So, Rochelle, what? Yeah, this helps to build your organization also when you show, and that's why we were so happy to have you as part of the program here, because of the fact that there's so many women in the service that a lot of folks don't even know that
That's right.
yet they exist.
That's right.
Right, exactly.
And we're looking for them,
Yeah,
we
I know you are.
continue to, we hate to use that word recruitment because some of them get scared when you say recruitment.
Recruit, yeah.
But we try to, encourage them, to join the organization. And even if they don't join the organization, just follow the organization for some of the things that we do. But we have some amazing women in our organization. We're comprising of those who are still serving, still wearing the uniform, as well as those who have actually retired out or discharged out.
Sure.
Those who are disabled, those who have been homeless before, those who are, going to school now or, just finishing up school. One of the other members on our board, we have about a couple of them that have doctorate degrees. One is graduating today, as a matter of fact.
Isn't that great?
It's really a plus for our organization to bring that type of experience, in from every person who is from a different background, pretty much, different branch of service, wartime, peacetime. Right. So we kind of cover all of that, including different branches of the service too. And we just kind of mesh together. That's what we call the peer-to-peer support, because we can support any woman veteran who comes or, needs to get in contact with our organization for one thing or the other.
Give out your number. It's a good time to do it.
Telephone number is 872-731-2150. And
Repeat that.
Yes, 872-731-2150. And our website is www.nwvu.org. nwvu.org.
And that's the National Women's Veterans United. And by the way, our phone number is 312-374-8130. 312-374-8130. If anybody would like to call us, we would be happy to take the call. I just think it's great. One of the things, Colonel, we have is that we've mentioned before is the Veterans Court. Have you seen how that works at all?
We have a Veterans Court. I'm assigned to Markham, and there's a Veterans
you're working.
Court there, yeah. But I haven't had the opportunity to sit through it. I've been invited to a couple of graduations, and I observed what happened afterwards, but I haven't had any participation in the Veterans Court.
Yeah, well, something I didn't know, and I'm just seeing it now, that you were elected to the Circuit Court of Cook County in 2008.
Yeah, the year Barack Obama was elected.
Yeah, okay.
I saved that information.
But you are presently assigned to the Juvenile Justice Division and seated in the 6th District Markham Courthouse.
That's correct.
So you're working.
Yes, I am working.
I always tease and say, here come the judge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm asking about Veterans Court. I didn't know she'd been elected. I hadn't read that far down. Oh, so that's just great. So have you had any interest at all in the Veterans Court?
Yes and no. If I weren't in juvenile, I think I'd like to be part of the Veterans Corps.
Uh-huh.
But juvenile is where I want to be.
I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's important. That's very important. Do you happen to be a mom?
No, I'm not.
You're not? Okay. I was wondering with your background and all whether. But no, that's just great. So, when you look at your military awards, Military Medal of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal, Joint Service Achievement Medal, Army Commendation Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Global War on Terrorism, Armed Forces Reserve. You go. Yeah, the Iraqi Campaign Medal and Army Combat Action Badge. Show combat.
Well, that's actually light, because sometimes you see the soldiers and they just have a chest full of medals.
I know.
And you wonder how they're able to stand up with all those medals.
Yeah, and I get so proud when I see those women with all those medals on. I mean, it really just kind of like, it brings you back to what it used to be before, when you used to just see men, dressed up like that. But now you see these women, and you know that they earned them. They didn't.
Oh,
they weren't
yeah.
just given to them. They
That's
earned
true.
them. And so we always like to say that, because you know how strong we feel about women veterans and the accomplishments and things that they've done to contribute to this nation. You
Oh,
know,
absolutely.
and they're left out of that a lot of times. So we have to try to give them that parade where we can.
Well, that's how you. I'm sure how you started the whole NWVU.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah, Rochelle. I mean, that's why you did it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of recognition of, the contributions and sacrifices that they made. And, particularly the fact that we forget oftentimes those that made the ultimate sacrifice too.
It's true.
We forget that. And so we try to keep that alive
Yeah.
as well within our organization.
You might have heard us earlier talking to lady veterans and, sexual harassment and all that sort of thing, which we certainly know happens and
Yes.
probably is still going.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if either of you, because when we hear our commander-in-chief, and I don't want to get into that, but one of the things I was wondering, racism. Do we hear, is it any better, is it worse, or is racism a big deal in the service now? And I'm talking about with the women,
Yes.
obviously,
Yes.
because this is
Oh,
strictly
absolutely.
about women.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. And a lot of that comes with a price tag of, that military sexual trauma too.
Yeah.
It comes with that. And we do hear women say that. We have some that are serving now. One of our members, and I'm not going to name her name or anything like that, but she struggles with that every single day. She's in a capacity that it started off really great, being across the state. She's like in a statewide position in the Guards, and it has been just a very difficult process for her. And so, part of that is not acknowledging her, number one, as an officer. She doesn't get the same respect as
We
other
just had
male
someone saying
officers
exactly
do.
that, right.
Absolutely, and it's true, and it has brought her to a point where, okay, this is enough, I got enough time, I can get out. Even when people don't want to get out, they come out because of that lack of protection, or disturbance of how they can make complaints about their situation. They're always scared of the fact that there's going to be some repercussions behind it.
Colonel, did you see anything like that? Maybe you were treated differently because?
I was treated differently because I'm a lawyer and because I had a higher rank. I was fortunate in the Guard to have some good mentors. In the JAG department, in the brigade commander, Raynard Ricks, was there. 33rd Infantry Brigade was where I was first assigned in the Guard. And, it's like you're a lawyer, they hate you, but they need you, so they're going to respect you. So I didn't have that problem. I'll tell you one incident I had while I was deployed. I was at Camp Victory, and I was walking down the street, and I see this young female soldier, and she sees me. And in Iraq, it was a lot of the zones were no salute zones, but Camp Victory, they had to salute higher officer.
Sure.
So she sees me and she knows she's going to have to salute. We're on the same side of the street. She sees me. She keeps her head down. She walks across the street so she doesn't have to salute me. And she goes to step up on the sidewalk and she falls right down. That was just so much. That was so funny. But, it all depends where you are,
That's funny.
the job you have, and what you do. So I've been very fortunate and blessed in my career that I haven't had any problems like that. In fact, when you're promoted and stuff, you're outside and people will salute you like, hey, you're just walking around the park there. We were at North Avenue, Kedzie, and black soldiers want to salute you. I'm like, hey, you don't have to. Ma'am, I'm happy to salute you. Happy to
hell
salute you.
yes,
Everything.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
it was great.
I agree with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they take that attitude, that discrimination goes into the workplace wherever they go. It
Yeah.
goes with them.
Yeah.
And I experienced that with the Illinois Department of Veterans Affairs with someone you served with. I think I had mentioned that to you before.
Yes.
And I saw him later on at a time, and he acted like he didn't know me, and he was with his wife, and he was like, do I know her? Do I know her? And I just simply said, looked at his wife, I said, when he comes back to his senses, tell him that his old boss said hello. It was hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That is great. Well, what do you see, Rochelle, with the situation that's going on now with women, and particularly African American women, in the services? Because the numbers of female soldiers is growing. You know that, I'm
Yes,
sure.
I do.
Yeah. So what do you see?
I see the fact that number one is, we have a lot of younger veterans going in.
Okay.
And I think that they need mentors. When they get in the military, they really need mentors that are
Right.
going to protect them, that are going to show them the ropes of making sure that they learn how to read regulations. That's the main thing. I get, some women who are complaining, they're still in the military, and the first thing I asked them, I said, well, did you read the regulations to see what the regulations said? And the first thing she told me was, no, I didn't. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, you should
maybe
do
you
that,
should, right.
because maybe they were right what they said. You never can tell unless you read the regulations. So that's one thing that I think if they don't read the regulations, if they don't have protection, if they don't have mentors, they may not stay long. And I think that during my time, they weren't really encouraging women to stay long. A lot of them did based on, their career status at that time in terms of their MOS, military occupational specialty. But now it's a little different, But they need women in too because, we kind of touched on this once before. If they did not have women in the military, they would have went into a draft a long time ago.
Yeah.
They would have
Yeah.
had to go into a draft.
Yeah.
But the numbers that women produce in the military basically allow them not to have to do that
Right.
when 911 came along.
And I think you were part of that discussion when we were talking about women in combat. And I was
Yes.
vociferously in favor of that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
the women
at
will
their
kick
own
you.
discretion.
Absolutely.
If they want to go
They
in,
wanna be,
they
yes.
should not be excluded.
That's right.
If that's what they want to do.
Yeah, and one of the things I've said many times recently, as you well know, the best thing you can do if you want a military career is to get a congressional appointment to one of the military academies. West Point being, of course, the most famous. But just last year, the person who was the cadet captain
Yes.
was an African American woman.
Yes.
And you know what the
Yes.
crap she had to put
Oh, yeah.
up with.
And she pulled her rank, too.
Yes, she
carried her
she
load.
She certainly did. you know.
And she's getting the respect that she needs,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
They had to step back and they had to respect
Right,
her.
exactly.
And I believe she had a great mentor also. I think I read something in there that she had a mentor during that time. I can't remember
Well,
who it was.
one of the things that I said, her last name was Askew, and I was in the service with a guy that we referred to as AAA. His name was Albert A. Askew. And we wondered, because it's not a common name, and particularly for African Americans, and I was trying to, I talked to some other guys that I was in with, and we were all wondering the same thing, but we couldn't contact
Sure.
anybody. So that's it. The Judge Cooper, tell us what your experience in the service has done for the job you have now.
I think it helps me organize better. I probably have a little more discipline. I'm time conscious. I like to start on time. If I tell you 9 o'clock, I want you there at 9 o'clock. I want you, whatever time you're supposed to be there.
Do you say that or 0900?
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
people can't. I don't know why people can't figure out military time.
I don't either. It makes more sense, right? Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has just been wonderful to have Judge. I thank you so much for coming in.
You're very welcome.
It's great, and Rochelle, of course, I'm thanking you.
Yeah, thank you.
As always for.
Okay, I want to just
Sure.
say one other thing. I
Right.
want to just, we have some programs that are coming up, and
Uh-huh.
we appreciate, the fact that you are going to be one of the speakers at that event on Memorial Day. So
okay.
that's right. So
Okay.
you're going to be speaking at the Lincoln Cemetery, where the 100th anniversary will be celebrated for the American Legion George L. Giles Post 87. They're the oldest African American post in the nation. So we're looking forward to you being there, and thank you so much for agreeing to be there. And we
absolutely.
also have
It's an honor.
and we also have Attorney Ernesto Borges that is going to be at Oakwood Cemetery.
Great.
That's going to be on Memorial Day also. All of these
Okay.
are on Memorial Day, so we're
Okay.
just kind of like taking over with the the America's Heroes group.
What
that is-
cemetery is that?
He's going to be at Oakwoods.
Yeah, I got a problem.
I know.
That's right. Yeah.
Brenda going to get you.
Yeah.
Okay.